Sam got an embroidery machine a couple of weeks back and has already had to contact customer support. So this video is going to be a tooth poo part. Hey guys, Sam here and welcome back to Samcraft. As I tried to say in that intro, this video is going to be a two-part video. First and foremost is going to be my experience with SmartStitch customer support, what it was like, how long it took for communication to resolution, all of that stuff. But then part two is going to be showing you guys my complete process as of right now on how I embroider my own hats for the Samcraft brand. So I think the best way to illustrate and tell you the story of my customer support experience is to first of all show you the problems I was having with my machine. As you're seeing here, these are actual mess ups from trying to run jobs on the embroidery machine. What you may notice and what I've circled here and there are dots, places where the needle went in, the thread did not tie, the needle came out, and it kept on trucking along. This ended up being a mess. I was missing stitches. If it went long enough, it would cut the thread. The machine would error out, tell me the thread cut when it didn't really cut, and was just overall a headache. Hindsight being 2020, what I should have done was stop and directly contact SmartStitch customer support because that would have gotten me the solution the fastest. However, what I did was thinking that I was smart, I can watch YouTube videos, I can figure this out. So I went down the rabbit hole of tension tests, bobbin case tests, everything else, swapping out threads, swapping out needles, trying different tensions of everything, and basically spun my wheels for about a week. When I was finally ready to give up and I could admit defeat, I then did what I really should have done to begin with, and that was reach out to SmartStitch with photos, examples, and basically asking for help. That call for help was actually a message in the Facebook messaging group that they set up whenever you first get your machine, and was basically, hey, I'm having this problem, here are some pictures, what do you suggest? Well, a little bit later, I got contact back from them and they wanted to do a video chat, a Facebook video chat with me in the shop and my machine. Now, I'll go ahead and let you guys know that I am in the Eastern US, I'm in Tennessee, and SmartStitch and the customer support is not in the US. So we're dealing with international time zones. We're dealing with entities on different sides of the world. So what that meant was when I got my contact and said, hey, let's do a video chat, it was honestly 10:30 p.m. my time. At this point, I wanted the machine fixed badly enough that I said, okay, I'll come on out here, let's do it. So I hopped on the call, hopped on the video chat, with what I thought was going to be one person, and it ended up being three people. Three different SmartStitch techs were right there waiting to help me get things figured out. To make a long story short, because you may not have the same reasons for this issue that I have, my issue was that the spacing of the hook down inside the lower portion of the machine was a little bit too far back. The hook that comes around the bobbin to pull the thread off of the needle, wrap it around and tie it and do some magical stuff was not always catching the thread. The overall time to diagnose this and figure out my issue was about 20 minutes, which honestly is pretty good. Considering there was a little bit of a language barrier, they had to understand what I was saying, they were dealing with shaky hand Sam Cam on a phone, they still did really good. So they found out what the issue was, they sent me a link to a YouTube video that showed how to adjust what they were telling me to adjust, and said go ahead and do it. We're here, we're on standby, let us know how it works out. So I went ahead, watched the video, I applied the fix, and yep, that was my fix. I didn't let them know everything looks good, but at that point I was ready to go to bed, I was tired, and said, you know what, it looks like it's correct, let me do some tests tomorrow, and I'll follow up and let you know whether or not it is. So the next day I ran through some more tests, I ran through jobs that were previously just nightmares and just failing, and for the first time of me having the machine, it ran like perfect. I didn't have to sit there and hover. I did because that was my habit, but the machine went through a 26,000 stitch job flawlessly. That felt great. So me, in my case, what I had, who knows? Maybe it got shaked on shipping, maybe it's something I did on assembly, or it just is the way things go. The good thing that I want you to hear from this story is that SmartStitch, while they are an international company, their customer support was great. They didn't know me as anybody other than someone who got a machine, help them out. that was phenomenal. The machine also is really, really cool because there are levels of adjustability inside that machine. There are parts that are replaceable, changeable, that it really makes the machine feel like it is a right to repair style machine. What that means is if something goes awry, there are parts that can be fixed. There are parts that can be adjusted, and you're not just left out in the dark. That was awesome. So there's my customer support story. Good, bad, I don't know, but it was my honest experience with SmartStitch as a company, presenting an issue to them, not knowing how to fix it, and what they did to get it fixed for me. Total time from hi, I have an issue to I am rocking and rolling was about a day. And given that was because I wanted to wait until the next day to do my tests. All in all, that's not too bad. So there's my customer support story, but now let's go ahead and make a Samcraft hat. Let's go ahead and get the stuff together, change out our frame holder for the cap driver, and bring you guys along to see how I'm currently running and embroidering Samcraft hats to sell to people who want them. So there's a look at my process for changing out the arms for the cap station on the SmartStitch embroidery machine, and then my method for hooping up a cap, or as a lot of people call them, hats, to be stitched out. While this is a structured hat, I still like to put in the tearaway stabilizer just as a little extra added insurance, but also because I have noticed sometimes whenever I did not do the tearaway, I had a little bit of my bobbin thread coming through to the top, or my top thread was being pulled down. It just didn't look as crisp. But every time I've used the stabilizer, I don't have that issue. So for me, it's always stabilizer when I do my caps. The other thing that I do not do that you may see with others, I don't put clips on the back of these because this is a structured hat. This is not what is called a dad hat. This is stiff, solid, it's holding itself up. It's keeping things out of the way, and it's keeping the face or the crown portion good, ready to be stitched out. If this was a very flimsy hat, like a dad style hat, then yes, we wrap the ends over this way and we use the included little clamps that come with the machine and we button it down tight. But in my experience, it's not really needed with these style hats, and I leave it open like this intentionally so that as it moves through back and forth, nothing binds up and causes issues with the design. Alright guys, I want to show you the interface here in case you've not seen it. If you have, bear with me. So first thing I want to do is tell the machine I've changed my frames. So I'm going to tap on this icon, bottom left, this icon, choose my frame, which for me is this one. Green check mark, green check mark. The machine is finding the mechanical origin of the frame. Looks good. Now we're going to exit, and now we're going to choose our design. Looks good. Check mark, check mark. We have it right here. Now I'm going to tap up here on the color squares, and for this one it's the Samcraft logo. I just need to choose one color. In this instance it's going to be red thread. Looks good. What I'm going to do next is load the hat into the machine and then press this home button, but choose the move frame along design border option to trace the outline. What I'll do is watch how it traces, and then I'll press the up arrow to walk the design closer to the visor of the hat, as close as possible. That's a trick to get the designs a little bit closer to the visor if that's what you want. When you go to load the hat, first thing first, make sure your bobbin thread is full because you can't swap this out with the hat in place. So we check it, looks great. Go ahead and put it back in place. Now we take the hat, we turn it sideways, push it over the cap driver, and then rotate it up in the correct orientation. Then you want to align the notches on the cap hoop to the cap driver and click it into place. Sometimes you can do this without looking around the side of the machine, but honestly, most of the times I look around the side of the machine. When you've got it there, feel it's getting started, it's not want to click left or right. I grab the back side of the hat ring and I'm going to squeeze. That locks in the top too. Now there's one in the bottom, I need to do the same thing. That click tells me I'm there. So you can kind of lightly tap these. If they're not flipping, it means it's locked down. So we are good. It's now properly installed onto the machine. With the machine here at the first position, I'm going to hold this presser foot down, and on the screen I'm going to tap that home button and tell it to move frame along design border, and it's going to trace the outline of my job. This will tell me where it is, and I can move it towards the visor as much as I want to. Alright, this is way too tall. So I'm going to use the down arrow on the screen to move it closer towards the visor, then go back to the hat, and I'm going to repeat the trace outline feature. I want it as close to that metal band without touching it, as long as it's not too low and it looks kind of weird on the hat. So let me trace it one more time and pay attention rather than thinking about the camera shot. Alright, that looks good to me. So I'm happy with the placement. So back over here on the screen, I'm going to press the pink button down here to lock in and confirm the embroidery state, location, and job. This is when you then see the design up top, and it's upside down, which is correct. We're doing a hat. And honestly, at this point, I just press the green start button and we run our job. Alright guys, the hat is done. Took about 6 minutes to stitch out. To take it off the frame, it's as easy as pressing little clips to release the cap hoop. Two on the top, one on the bottom. Then you want to carefully rotate it to the right, pull it out, and if you had another one, load it in and press start. Alright, I usually will take it right back to the cap station, do this, release my clamp, and then take the hat off. And this is whenever I look at the stitching, inspect it, see how it looks, see if we got any threads to clean up, and then of course take out the tearaway stabilizer from the inside, which as the name implies, you just tear it away. Pretty easy to do. And then one thing I do, and I've not seen it on other embroidered hats, especially if you look at any in the store, and then possibly others that other small scale embroiderers have done, I clean up all of the threads in the inside. All the leftover tearaway stabilizer, I get it out of there, and then I hit all the threads with a heat gun just to make it cleaner. I also hit the outside of the hat with a heat gun very lightly. What that's going to do is the heat will make these threads kind of shrink a little bit and make it tighten up a little bit and make it look just that much better. And fresh off the embroidery machine, the last little bit of things that I like to do is clean up the hat. So there's some fuzz that really shows up on dark colored hats. Dust, fuzz, whatever you want to call it. I like to brush them off just with a plain, clean paintbrush. Flipping it over, I will put the cardboard insert back inside the hat just like it was whenever it arrived to me. This helps make sure the hat stays nice and crisp, help kind of fight any kind of creasing that may happen, and just presents a nice clean finished product to the customer. Then fold the hat back halfways like it was before. Clean that off. If I got some stubborn fuzz, I'll hit it with a lint roller. And then we are done. It is ready to be presented, or in this case, shipped off to the customer. This guy really pops. I really like the black and red color combination. This was a color combination that was actually requested to me from a viewer of the channel, and you know who you are. Well, you could be the first one to receive a hat out of the Samcraft shop and know that you've got Samcraft hat number 1. Well, wait, number 3. Sorry, I did the blue and white one on my first video, and I made another brown Samcraft hat the other day, but this is number 3. And I gotta tell you, number 3 looks good to me. Well guys, if you got any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. Hopefully you enjoyed my story time of customer support, and I don't know, maybe you learned some things on setting up a hat, or otherwise got to see what all is involved in case you're interested in embroidery for setting up and embroidering hats. It's hard for me not to say engraving hats, because I'm so used to lasers. Either way, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you guys next time in the workshop.